Good morning. So today I decided that it will be brakes day and or steering day, and I've looked at both of them a little bit, and they're each going to present their unique little challenge. Let me show you. Alright, so you have the back of your Grand Marquis brake pedal, which goes through your firewall to the back of your power brake booster and push rod for the master cylinder. Now looking at the firewall, you can see that where your steering, where your brake goes and where your steering goes has a little bit of an offset. Okay? But on the truck, it's almost straightened down. It's actually the exact opposite way of how the Grand Marquis firewall is. So I think what I'm going to have to do is take this out. This is probably where that master cylinder is now going to go, which will work because that'll help clear the air intake, as well as keep the brake lines where they're sitting naturally. Alright, here's the other challenge. Steering column. I really want to use this Grand Marquis steering wheel because it's got my ignition switch, it's got turn signal, it's got the cruise control, everything's all built into it, so I really want to use it. But one of the things is the original steering wheel, the distance from the top of this instrument bezel to the top of the wheel was 11 inches. The way this sits right now is 8 inches. So it seems like it would be putting it kind of out of reach, but I think it's actually going to sit fine. The problem is going to be mounting it, because this bracketry would normally go on that. That was under the dash of the Grand Marquis. But it is such a cluster, and considering, I have to get the brake pedal in here, gas pedal in here, and create something with this, I just don't think I'm going to be able to use it. I think I'm going to have to cut these off and either slide them down or just get rid of them and fabricate my own mount altogether. So we will see what I come up with for that. One thing I forgot to show you with this piece of the firewall from the Grand Marquis is, so here's where your brake goes, down there is where your steering goes. Well, you can see, that it sticks out. So I'm going to have to create that same kind of thing. Should be fun. So this is the approach I'm going to take. And I guess if it doesn't work, I have more holes to weld up. But here we go. Okay, I've got good news and bad news to report. So obviously you can see that I've got the booster and master cylinder mounted to the firewall. And it looks good, and my brake lines, they are really, where's the hole? Right there. Boom. We'll plug in. If anything, I might have to make a bend here or there to make it perfect, or I might have to lower this assembly down a ½ inch. If I lower it down a ½ inch, it'll be spot on with plugging in to the brake lines. The bad news is it just consumed my spot for steering. I can't move them over to the left because already that would put the pedal in a real awkward position. Because right now this pedal is a little left of center, which my Mustang and Thunderbird are both a little bit left to center. So it looks acceptable to me, and if it matches the others, it's probably, how it was. But I'm going to have to figure something out here. I don't know. This sucks. So hopefully sleep on this and I'll figure something out. Alright gang, so when I left off, I was having a problem with the brake master cylinder, booster, and pedal assembly occupying the same space as the steering. But I think I've come up with a fix. Let me show you. Okay, so the booster is staying right where I mounted it, and I've moved the steering to closer to the passenger side, and I've been able to keep good geometry on the U-joints, if you will. So here is the setup I have right now. That is not bad. So I've got plenty of clearance here. I'm gonna have to take that little dog ear off, but I've got plenty of room, and like I said, everything seems to be at a good angle. So we're gonna run with it. I've had to trim the steering wheel. Like I said, everything, I had to move it to the right. So I have to open this up. I'm going to have to open up just a little bit more. But where it sits, the steering wheel doesn't seem awkwardly off to the right. So I'm happy with it. But it did bring up another problem. Obviously, I need something to mount the column with. And also, with the booster, master, and pedal assembly on, and only being held in with 4 bolts through the firewall, you find out real quick that this firewall is quite flimsy. So I've come up with a fix. I made this. So the left side there will mount to the left wall of the cab. This side here is going to go to the back of the dashboard, and that will go to the firewall. And these holes are going to hold up the brake assembly. So it's giving 3 points of strength and going to hold or provide another securing point for the brake pedal assembly. So this is what you end up with. Attach it to the firewall, back to the dash, and goes across over the top of the brake pedal assembly and over to the firewall over there. So one of the awesome things about it, not only is it going to give the brake assembly some strength, but it's also going to give me an area to attach a column drop, which I'll get from probably like Speedway. From there to the column is about 2 1/4 inches. So I'm not going to weld this in yet until I get that, can mount it to that bar there and have a column drop. Good morning. So today, got a package from Speedway Auto Parts, and it is my 3.5 inch column drop. So today I'll be finishing up this column mount, and this is a nice piece. I didn't really want polished aluminum, but it's the only thing out there because you'll never see this. So anyway, it's a nice piece, but for some reason they put these really small studs on here. I was hoping just to put this through the square inch tubing that I already have hanging in there, but it's not going to work. So I'm going to put a piece of angle iron on the side of the tubing. Kind of ghetto, but it'll work. So let me get this installed and see if this is the solve-all right here. Okay, so while mocking this up, I added this, and that's to my 3.5 inch drop column, and then I also added in this piece to weld to the back of the dashboard because I ended up cutting out that support. The thing was just in the way every time, and with this there and that there's no flex anymore, and this thing's so stiff now. So anyways, it's all welded in. Let me put this together and see how it works out. Okay, so my $50 solve-all 3.5 inch drop column turned out not to be my solve-all. That originally the column is supported in 2 places, and going with this single place just isn't enough, I guess, to support the weight. So I have added on another bar to my support, which I have drilled a hole in and welded a tab onto the column, so now it has 2 supports. Let me put it together and show you how it works. Alright, so finally got this damn thing sorted out, and I'm confident that it's going to work out just fine because it's got plenty of strength to it, and the geometry is pretty good. I'll show you what that looks like. So I'd be lying to you if I said that it was completely done, the steering part. I'm not really happy with how it's going through the firewall. I think I'm going to go take what I did put in off and put in some aftermarket bushing. So I'll deal with that when I tear it back down, but just happy that the steering is done for now, because it's kicked my butt, I'll be honest with you. It fought me over and over again, but I can check that off. So next I'm going to cut some holes in the firewall for the electronic plugins to go through, and then start hanging the sheet metal on the front of this so I can figure out how much to lop off of the frame and get the ECU and those kinds of things hooked up to the harness again. So that's next. Take care.